Hello, thank you for coming to watch this video. This video is about Openclaw and Mac Minis and all the frustrations, the little things that hype videos don't tell you. I'm making this video out of frustration, but purely in hopes that my experience and what I've learned could help you in your process and your decision buying a Mac Mini or not. And I'm trying to one-shot this video, so excuse the low production and no script. I just want to be able to help people with what I have. Okay, so first things first, this is the Mac Mini that I bought. Okay, I went for the Mac M4 Pro chip, the lesser core, the 16 core GPU one, and I did go for the 64 gigs. Okay, all right. The logic is that I'll be building something up and crank up production and be building things, and a 64 Mac Mini may be able to help me offload some of these things and hopefully save some money here. Okay, my recommendation is don't. Okay, at least not my version of this. And you could, my recommendation is that you buy the cheapest Mac Mini if you want something standalone, or use your old laptop, format your old laptop and run that, or even pay for a online VPS. That's going to work and much cheaper than this. Okay, and I'll give you the reason why. So stay tuned. Okay, so let me explain a little bit. I watch enough hype videos about Openclaw and how it remembers the context and being able to build a project for you and all of that hype. Don't believe in that, because the memory setup and system sucks. Let me explain to you what Openclaw memory is. They have this thing called memory core. It's in essence, it's memory function. It has a memory file, which I will show you here. And it has daily records of what you talked about. Okay, this process is so janky. Don't believe any of the hype that people say. Let me explain to you so you understand what Openclaw memory is. So what it has is that it has this heartbeat function. So it triggers the system to record information. For example, this memory.md file. Okay, so it's recorded by date. Okay, so as you can see, it doesn't record much, right? This process is so janky. It gives you a little bit of information. At the most, it tells you what you worked on. And if you look closer at the memory file, you see like it doesn't even record anything. It's like, look at this, right? And some of the documents. There's one document that has nothing. Yeah, look at this. It's heartbeat run. Okay, so the process is so janky. It doesn't remember. At the most, it remembers what you guys worked on. And also the retrieval process. The memory is handled by this heartbeat, and also it only retrieves last 2 days, meaning the day before and the day yesterday and the day before that. Okay, but as you can see, the recording process is so janky already, and it only gives you 2 days of information. So all the rest of these files are not doing anything. Okay, now to give it some credit, it does have a search process, but if the base is so bad, the search is not going to give you good results regardless. And they do have a embedding process, which nobody ever talks about, is that you have to, the way I set it up is I use Claw code to set things up, right? What I discovered through Claw code was that they have a embedding process with the database, SQLite database. Okay, and I looked at it and I was like, okay, at least you could search something. But you have to enable it, right? Nobody ever tell you that. Okay, so what I've opted for is this thing called QMD. Okay, at first I was trying mem0, which, they use some API process as a third party somewhere else. I didn't like that. So I went for the local version. What it does essentially is the exact same thing. However, it has a better search function. It has like 3 different ways to search, like keyword search, like vector search, or like sentiment search, or something like that. So it has, and also that it writes a better database. Okay, so what I've done is I built my own save agent, so that when I type in /save, it creates documents like these. As you can see, it's already like way better than what Openclaw does, right? You see, keep in mind it's not daily. For example, this 3 are done in the same day. This is like what, 3, 4, 5 times what Openclaw does. So I created my own save agent, and I use QDM, where that QDM does index all the documents. So it helps index these documents so it has a better result. And I also written a hook where that, based on session start, it would kind of load all the information, and that it also records when a new file is created. So the database would actually grow. And since all the files are there, you could recreate the database is no problem. Even if you erase the database to, you could re-index them again because all the files are already there. So that in itself, right, the Openclaw memory system really sucks. By the time you install it, like, it's better that you build something or use something else in place of that. Okay. Okay, let's talk about one of the main reasons why I dished out $2,000, which is Ollama running local instances. Yes, it helps you, but don't use it. It's so freaking slow that you're better off paying something else. So that's why I recommend you use buy the cheapest Mac Mini or use your own laptop, because if you want to be productive, it's best that you pay for some service. And I've researched, there's a GLM that's way cheaper than Cloud Code. I keep on forgetting the things that I've been using. And there's a Kimi 2.5. There's Mini Max. And for what I do here, I think I'm gonna start with Mini Max. It's the cheapest. It's API. So if I want to switch, I could switch anytime I want. Maybe to like pay like $5-10 just to test it out. Okay, I have not tested out different models yet. But right now, I've tested Ollama extensively on my own machine, and let me tell you, it sucks, even with 64 gig. Okay, so Ollama has limitations, right? So when you switch between models on the Ollama desktop, it's a simple drop-down menu choice, and it seems so smooth and seamless. However, when you use Openclaw with it, it does have a 10-second lag, 10 to 12-second lag, where that you switch models, you can't input right away because the models needs to be written into the memory or however have you, and it's so freaking slow. It's basically not very useful. Yes, you could do some things because I'm able to load a bigger model. However, the process is still very not productive, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. With that, let me explain why. The limitation of Llama is that it does, you could load multiple model and you could run them in parallel. However, there's a limitation where that you could run parallel, but one at a time, meaning that the session will be started and basically you only have, I'm not gonna get technical here, but basically you have one process, right? So I say hi in this channel and I say hi in another channel. it will have to wait for the first high to be completed and responded, and then the second high would then be processed. Then you got to wait again for that second one. Now imagine if you ask it to build something, right? It it's just kind of like the pipeline is so slow that it is basically a major traffic jam. Not only that, it times out, which is very strange to me because I was testing it and I was wondering why some sessions were timed out, some sessions were terminated. Okay, I get this like session terminated. Yeah, see, session terminated. I I could, for the love of God, I couldn't figure it out until I dug for like hours. Basically, Olama's limitation is that you want run one job at a time, and when you put in the second job before the first job is finished, the second job runs into the risk of timing out, meaning that while waiting, there's a health check or there's a time check in the background for the second command, right? So if the first one doesn't finish, the second one they will tell you it times out. So I have no idea whether or not this timing out stops the process, where that the second command is still waiting, or the timeout just kills it completely. My understanding or my research seems to tell me that the second command is killed completely. So again, if you're building something and you run it locally through Olama, you could totally see how that would just kind of break everything, right? Okay. Oh, and wattage. In the process of figuring this out, there's no way for me to tell what is going on. I have to look in the logs. It's so slow that I don't know if it's actually working. So what I've done is actually built a dashboard kind of thing where that, as you can see, I went through many iterations, right? I was trying to see if this is being used, or like trying to get token usage out of Olama. You see how many token is being processed or produced, but Olama only produced that at the end of a job. So that's kind of strange as well. So that it's not a reliable thing. The most reliable thing is, funny enough, the GPU wattage. Okay, if it's being used, this wattage will actually indicate usage. So basically, I have an indicator saying that it's on or it's off, basically. But that's that, right? So putting all these things together, it's really, really frustrating, right? Me thinking that, hey, I spent $2,000, I'm getting ready to ramp up something, and here I am 10 days later, still frustrated at this process because nothing is explained, or it's never smooth. Okay, just in the memory, I was if I'm gonna use it as a personal assistant, I want it to be able to remember things. But no, I'm still having to instruct everything. Okay, and the Olama and the timeouts, and the way it's processed, basically one job at a time. Anything more than that, it gets timed out and it kills and breaks your entire process. So right now, I could think of usage of maybe cron jobs, and assign a certain model to it, so it triggers once a day, once an hour, or whatever have you. That I could see it working, but anything more complicated than that, it's gonna take like 40 minutes, an hour. It's gonna trigger the timeout regardless, so that the process would then eventually break. It doesn't matter how many agents you have, or you could put, of course, block times for this process, but then again, it's very silly. I try to build something sequential with different agents, but it's still timing out, still has a problem. So I'm sitting here in front of the computer, basically having to instruct one and give one instruction at a time. So again, that becomes a manual process. It's very stupid. So Oh, great. I'm at the end of the video. So basically, this entire process, the memory issues, the olama of having only one job at a time, even if the parallel or the numbers of LM load is multiple, it only does one thing at a time. Okay, it's a limitation of the Mac olama. Okay, and the timeout, the way to process these commands or orders or inputs breaks the system. It is very frustrating because you don't know what is going on other than one simple wattage thing that I found. I mean, you could look into the logs, but some process don't have, it doesn't tell you like manually. I want to be able to visually see if it's working or not. And I don't want to ask, what's the Claude code to give me a log every time in that. Okay, so hopefully this video gives you some information that may help you. Again, don't spend money on the Mac Mini. Go for the cheapest one. If you really want to a separate computer, use your old laptop that you have laying around, or even pay for a $8 a month service and just buy some API usage. And even with a $2,000 Mac Mini, my conclusion is that it's still like not it's you can't run it locally. The conclusion is you still have to end up paying some sort of subscription or API to make it worthwhile. Okay, all right, peace out.